Hey guys, welcome back to the studio. I'm Leah if you don't know me. This is Fang, my sleepy assistant. So 2 weeks ago I was able to go into an abandoned house and find some amazing books. And I haven't been able to even create with them yet, so I think that today I would love to get going on those. I also need to make some collage kits, so I'm going to be picking out things to put into them. One thing I haven't really talked directly on this channel about, but I would love to, is surreal art and how to make it yourself. Obviously, this is second nature to me, but I realize that this might be something that is harder for other people to get around. And it all starts with the design elements and principles. Using these functions in the right way can lead you to making the best surreal collage art. So why don't we jump into this pile of books? I also have my prompt list for this month that I would love to try and use, and we can see where it gets us. So let's jump into creating. Realizing as I'm taking all these books that a lot of them are not owned by these people and they're in rough shape, so I'm sure like the places that they came from don't want them back. Two of them are movement and wind, so I feel like this kind of works a little bit there. Maybe we'll pull this out. And then I have these American Art Review. I like this frame. Something funny about me is I feel like I save a lot of frames and then I don't end up using them, but I feel like I might be able to use them this time. Okay, so this is the pile that I've pulled from those magazines. I really liked this still life. I think it's gorgeous. I think I can obviously crop it and cut this part. This piece called Dogwood on canvas. Really liked this piece. I like the colors together. This one is obviously a Norman Rockwell. And then I have the skydivers and we have the frame. After looking at these, I definitely needed something else. So I just wanted to see how these images would do together. I think the colors are right, like this robin color. If you wanted to bring in a bird. We have this nice like little galaxy piece. I think it could kind of work into the frame potentially. Then we have this like big brain thing. I like this pattern for sure. I think this could be really cool. It's like a foreground. If we want to have like a foreground and a background. I think I'm gonna start by just starting with cutting out like these pieces and see what comes from it. When we're talking about the design elements and collage, the one that's the most important in this case is scale. Scale can really change a collage and make it from something simple to something crazy. In collage, it's all about adjusting the scale and making things smaller and bigger and amplifying things that aren't supposed to be as big as they should be. Or it can be the opposite, where something is way bigger than it's supposed to be. Let's look at an example of something I did from last week. This piece, I haven't given it a name yet. If you have any ideas, put them below. Shows a woman in the background of the mountains coming up and over and holding a man who's skiing and in the air. As soon as I saw the skier photo, I loved it so much. I was like, how could I make this any better? And so I had to go into my imagination and kind of really think about what I wanted to do with it. And it took me a long time. I had this piece sitting on my desk for probably over 6 months, to the point where I was like, maybe I should just frame it the way it is if I like it that much. I wasn't really sure how to alter this photo until I was looking at other collages that I've done in the past, where I've put something really far in the distance that's larger. And that's when I came up with the idea to put the woman screaming in the background, holding the ski person in the foreground. Now, obviously for scale, this would never be able to work, right? But that's what makes it surreal. Making a surreal collage is all about thinking of how you can incorporate this into your work. Okay, now we have to do all the little pieces inside. If that wasn't hard enough, oh my goodness. So originally I was thinking we have checkers here, and one of the prompts is also chess. So I thought something like that could kind of work. And I was kind of picturing these guys like around his head, kind of like cluttering his thoughts. But then I thought of something a little bit funnier. Let me know what you guys think. You know how in cartoons there's always birds going around people's heads? Well, what if there was people going around this robin's head? I know this black and white is not really the type that would match extremely well with this, so we're gonna have to be very careful in our color selection. And this is where I'm letting my brain lead, but it is a brain. I feel like I can really feel my intuition like pulling me towards this one. Kind of can picture this brain like this, like kind of pushed into it, probably behind this lump, like that, kind of on a weird angle, like it's almost like it's been there deserted for a long time. Sometimes I like to figure out what I'm doing first, but I think in this case, I kind of have like this weird intuition that something's going to work out here. As I said before, a lot of this is just about scale, right? And trying new things. And I think that this, obviously, we're getting a lot of surrealism. I think we should take the robin and the stump and have the robin like sticking out of the frame. Okay, well, this is definitely feeling like a dreamscape now. Now we just have to think about what's going in the frame, what's in the background, and where are our little people going. As you can see just from this, I feel like this kind of makes sense. And it kind of feels like this, like we're inside of a dream and it's trying to be formed. And it's definitely a very surreal collage. I think that bringing this in actually makes the color palette work better than having the red one, which I'm surprised about. I thought for sure that this one was going to feel better. I feel like we have the blue here, and even having just these flowers with a bird in the background, we're creating repetition, which is very strong, and it helps for like making this piece feel a lot better. That said, then what goes around the whole outside? In some cases, I would just leave it white, but in this case, I definitely don't want to. We're using very rich, bold colors. The only thing that's really white is the black and white people on this piece, so how can we make a background kind of stand out and be something that is eye-grabbing and still makes this piece feel surreal? When I have a lot of moving pieces like this, sometimes I will tape down certain pieces just to keep them in the exact place that I want them. In this case, I might be doing that just because I feel like we got a lot of moving pieces. Everything needs to be in a very specific spot when it's being glued. Firstly, I think I'm just gonna tape a little corner of this, and I'm gonna make sure that you don't really see the face of the person. I think somewhere like here. I'm just gonna take a very small piece, literally teeny tiny, and go in the back. That much is really all you need. You just need to get like the basic idea. And that way when we're doing the bird part as well, like this can just slide in. I'm actually gonna cut this though, because I do think I could reuse this. I do like the bottom part. I think it's nice for an abstract collage. Not sure if I want it to be on like more of an intense angle yet. I definitely want the bird to be sticking out. I'm gonna wait till I have the background to like fully get this in place. I have this from before. I mean, it almost fits perfectly, right? If we want to do blue, this is definitely a good blue option. Where I'm at with this right now is that I think that maybe a galaxy is the move, but not this one. Honestly, I'm just gonna stop here and try this a little bit. I know that these aren't the right shape, but we could do something like this. I mean, I really like that. I think it's really cool. I think the red kind of pulls out the red in the bird. I just wonder if I gotta move this down a little bit more. I mean, I could definitely see that work. So this is an option. I would definitely have to like try to fit these in, and I'll show you how to put those together to make it look a little bit more seamless. Also just have like the straight black and white here. Just wanted to show an option too that I'm like, absolutely no. I think that this color gets trapped and muddy when it is next to this one, and even these blues are not being complemented. So that's definitely a no. We then have something with like a circular background, which is kind of an interesting thing to do. I think it could work like up here. I still think that this color palette isn't correct though. I think we need something more blue. This is kind of a super random option, but I think if we put the bird like right where he's supposed to be, like it kind of works. I like this blue background. I like the little sun looking at the bird. I think it's kind of sweet. And I like having the greens and the greens, I think, match nicely. I just wish it was like slightly bigger. So I could do it digitally, and maybe that's what we'll do, is just like scan it and have it as an option at the end. One of my favorite things to do before gluing all of the time is always to flip them over, and I love the form of this one, so I've actually scanned it in. Maybe I'll use it in an abstract piece in the future. And here I'm just gonna cut off the extra paper and use my new tool again. When I have an image like this, we have two images, right? I'm trying to put them together. I'm trying to find the edges that look the best together. So, I mean, this one's probably gonna be best, but we don't wanna have like this warmer tone against the dark, right? So try both ways. And I do think that this way goes the best for how we're gonna fix this up. Well, it's been a really long time since I've tried out this strategy for mending pieces together. But the idea is that you don't want to have like this line in between them. So what I'm gonna do is take the first one and just start like kind of chopping at the edges of it, and we'll see how it gets there. So here's kind of the difference. You can see this side versus this side, and you can see that this one kind of has a little bit of an illusion. Obviously you can still see them right now just because it hasn't been glued down, but you won't see this white edge as much. And you can also do that on the other side and kind of have them intertwined sometimes. It really is dependent on your strategy. Some people like to like intertwine them in and out like almost like a zipper. So you got a little taste of what the process looks like, but now I'm going to show you like what it really looks like when everything is all together. And so this is what the back looks like, and I'm just going to take a little scrap piece of paper and put it over the entire back, and that way it'll hold it all into place. You can see it got a little bit crooked, so I guess just make sure when you're doing it that it stays in the right way that you want it to. I'm probably going to put the brain right in the middle so that I can cut the sides afterwards. And let's try to get all our pieces back together. So I could have it more like this. I kind of cut here thinking that would come through, but I think I like this overlapping on this corner. I'm just trying to make sure that the angle is still correct. I think that that's like a stronger composition. So I feel like I could move this piece around like 100 times. I'm just trying to find like the right angles for everything. I don't know if I want this to go like left or right. And so I'm keep going back and forth of like where this needs to go. And when I get in these situations where I feel a little bit stumped, I always just take a little walk away. So let's go take a walk away. Hello guys, I'm back. I'm looking at this piece again. It's actually been several days. I saw it the other day and I was like, oh, I'm just not ready. And I'm still feeling a little bit not ready, to be honest. Where I'm at with it is that I'm worried that there's not enough going on. I feel like something has to be here to kind of like bring the eye back in. I think I'm liking the colors. Like this is what's working for me, is this background color, this red, the blue, even the robin I really like all together. So I think this is good, but it's not there yet. I was wondering what I could do to add to it, and I have things like a little painting, for example. I have these clocks from the other Surreal one. I think I could like push them into the brain. Like we have all these like endings and stuff, like they could be like pushed into it, or even this one could be down there. I could put a clock down there, up there instead. Yeah, so I'm a little bit all over. I'm also like, is this the right image? I have some other images. This is like someone's business card. It kind of fits like perfectly to the point where I'm like, ooh, we could put another collage artist's art in the collage and then I could tag them. That would be pretty cool. This is Denise Jones Alder. She was at the show that I went to in New York. I don't know, that's kind of cool, eh? Like having someone else's work within your work. And then maybe just putting like these into the, I wonder like this having a little bit more gray kind of creates more repetition. We were talking about the traits before, like having these repetitions and stuff really does help here. Okay, now with these changes, I'm gonna walk away and see if like I come back and I'm like, okay, yeah, we finally got there. Okay, so just to play around with it, like this is the original piece. Kind of hilarious, but maybe it works better. It shows like a little land and we're in outer space and you know, it's almost like a reflection. Is this any better though? And then if we get rid of, I'm just gonna take out the leaves, like if we take out this and the bird could just be sitting on the frame. It's kind of a little lame though. Or I can find something that makes it sit on it, or it could just sit on the brain piece perhaps. But then I feel like this doesn't make any sense, like what's going on in the background. I think the risk that I'm willing to take is just cutting these feet off of the stump and trying to give that a shot without it. As you may remember too, I was able to scan all this before doing anything to it, so I feel a lot more confident like ripping things off, and I definitely recommend trying this if you're a little bit scared to do something sometimes on a piece. If you scan it in, you can always do it digitally, like you haven't lost the papers forever, so it just kind of helps me get things done. I think now that we're here, I'm realizing there's like gold, 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 so we have a lot of gold, but there's nothing to like really balance it. Before I felt like the green was maybe doing that a little bit, or it was helping for sure. I'm just not sure if like all the colors are working as well now, even though I did agree that like the green wasn't working. I feel like we've scaled it back so much now that we have like blues and we have like gold tones and red tones and then like these blues and greens basically, and that's all we have. So how can we talk about like tone and what could we possibly bring into this? Like maybe it is having like some vines coming out of it, maybe like bringing some green back into it. I'm a little stumped on this one, and it's always interesting getting into this situation and trying to figure out what's wrong with it and how to improve it. Okay, so I'm actually shocked. I found a lot of things that I was interested in bringing in. A lot of them, like these last little ones, I was just kind of bringing. I obviously think this one, it has the right colors, but I feel like adding an eye, like the brain is just gonna like pull towards the eye no matter what. Unless like we use it as like a weird head or like, you know, kind of stuffed in somewhere. I wanted to bring in potentially like a pot. If we want to bring back in greens, it would be good to like have it here and then have them like I don't know, go all over the frame perhaps. A piece that I used in a previous one, I thought this one was really funny. I've only used it digitally, so we could definitely bring this back in. Previously, I was thinking about like having cars as bugs so they could be like going around the frame perhaps, and that would be like what the bird was looking at, if you remember that version. Maybe I didn't record that. Then we have like a camera, it could be like projecting up and everything could be like an illusion. I thought a TV could be interesting. I think it's a little bit too big, honestly, unless we like remove something, but I thought it would be interesting for the bird to be like looking at an insect on the TV. It's kind of like showing that it like doesn't know the difference of it, and maybe we don't either. It's kind of an interesting little thing there. Then I was just thinking in the surreal terms of things, like having maybe legs popping out of the frame, just kind of random things, and that could serve as like something for the bird to sit on. And I also had this little earth. I think that looks pretty good there. And then we have these, like I was thinking a bug could be cool, right? Like again, we have a bird, maybe they're looking here, just a little one like this even, brings in the red. It has honestly the galaxy colors. It's kind of sick. I honestly think that looking at more backgrounds actually made the decision harder. I want to try to put them like properly in now, but I was thinking too, like maybe this is one of those things where I let the project guide me, and there are a lot of backgrounds that it could be. So is this like a digital piece where I scan in a bunch of backgrounds and make it into like a little video thing where there's like a whole bunch of different things going on behind the scenes? I feel like this one's kind of cool because it's like showing that we're in outer space, like looking in on Earth. Bird looks good in here. I love this like blue color with it. And obviously the beetle works as well. It kind of makes sense. It's like the beetle's coming out of the world, I guess. But then isn't this blue tone so different than this one, and so different than having these reds? Like most of the blues that I've been picking up have purpley tones within them so that it's highlighting both of the colors. This one is directly like a blue-green, and we don't really have green anywhere else. So then it's like, what else needs to change for this one to work? One last thing that I want to change too, and that's the background. I know we worked really hard on getting it all perfect, but I wonder if we bring in this blue one, if it'll look better just based off having less color contrasting. I think that we might be there. Like, I think that this works a lot better for me. So now we have like almost like a blue gradient going from dark to light to dark. We have kind of these greens and blues here, and we have green and orange here. We have like the right colors. This feels balanced at the bottom more. And then having these kind of weird elements at the top just reminds us of how surreal the piece is. I'm quickly gonna take all the pieces that I haven't scanned in yet and get those on the scanner. I feel like this piece is a perfect example of perseverance with a piece. Sometimes you just need to walk away from it. I could have seen myself walking away from this a lot more if I hadn't had to make a video for it, to be honest. But I'm really glad that I stuck with it and pushed through. When getting stuck in these situations, I think it's important to remember that it's okay to add more things, it's okay to get rid of things, it's okay to make very big changes to the piece itself. It's all about just making it work eventually. I think it's a good reminder, at least for myself, hopefully for some of you, every piece you make does not need to be an absolute showstopper. It's okay to make some that are just, okay. And it's okay to have ones that don't have that deep of a meaning. For me, it's really difficult when I don't have a piece that has a deeper meaning like this one. I feel like it's lacking something a lot of the time, and sometimes it's okay to just let go of that idea and make the composition work in itself. And just because I think it's not the best one I've ever made doesn't mean someone else might. A lot of the surreal works that I'm seeing on Instagram and other places of the internet and in galleries don't really have that big of a meaning. It's more about escapism for the artists themselves, and I think that there's something nice to that. The best part of this piece is that I took literal garbage foam that is going to be demolished and turned it into art. Obviously, I mixed in a couple of my own papers, but I think that there's just something beautiful about taking something that someone else didn't see the interest in and made it into something beautiful. As well, I was so excited to use my art prompts list. I honestly don't get to use it as much as I would like to. I think in this piece, I'm seeing a lot of them actually. I'm seeing the idea of infinity perhaps in this space era. And I put the word star, which I definitely can see here. We have the stars all around it. And movement. I feel like the eyes are moving around, the people floating through the air. It works perfectly for all the prompts that I did for this month. Oh, and if you want to check them out for yourself, they're on my community tab page. So there you have it, this piece is done, and it's reminding me of one of the pieces that I've done in the past. Do you guys remember Desert Dweller? Anyways, that's all from me this week. I'm so glad that we were able to finish this collage in time, and I hope you enjoyed watching the whole process from start to finish. If you haven't already, please subscribe and ask any questions below. And if you're interested in looking at my art prints, you can check them out at flanzella.com. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.